Hello, everyone. Great news. Today we are interviewing filmmaker Carolina Markowicz for the film Charcoal, which she directed and wrote. The film stars Maeve Jinkings, César Bordon, and Camila Márdila. The film Charcoal is the official selection for the 2022 Toronto International Film Festival platform selection, a world premiere that starts on September 9th, 2022. Welcome, Carolina, to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Congratulations. Amazing film, amazing story, and amazing writing. Great cast. I loved the film. Absolutely loved it. So,
Thank
tell me about the title. How did you come up with the title Charcoal?
well, in the very beginning, the film had another title when I started working it like 6 years ago. It was called When My Life Was My Life. And then the film changed a lot, the story changed a lot, and let's say the point of view of the story and the main part of the story. And then it made more sense to have a name that was very symbolical in a way because charcoal there are a lot of charcoal factories in that city where the film happens,
Right.
and it's a very predatory uh, thing. Like, people work without equipments, they get sick, they get like uh, very very serious illnesses. And in the end of the day, I think it symbolizes a lot about what people who get in the way of this family become.
Right, right. The film location was amazing. The visual was fantastic. Tell me about the cinematographer, Pepe Mendez. Uh, Wonderful, by the way. Wonderful job.
He is. I'm happy to hear that from you, and I'm very proud of him. He's a very good friend of mine, and we work together in my short films. He's very talented, and he was very passionate about the film and the story, and we wanted to create this atmosphere. And he's a cinematographer. I think one of his best talents is that he doesn't want to have everything uh, beautiful, like in a common sense. He's
Right.
trying always to get the best for the story and for the feelings that we should feel in each scene. And he's very good in that, and very he has this sensibility.
No, he did a great job because while I'm watching the film, concentrating on the characters of the film doing their thing, I'm also viewing the visual part of it. So, yes, you directing and him doing the lighting and the visuals, it was the perfect chemistry. It was just beautiful. And you
Thank
kept you did that, you know. How long did it take you to write the story and what message are you sending out to our audience?
Well, it took a long time because actually I started writing it like 5 years or 6 years maybe ago. But then I stopped it at some point, and then I came back to the script, and then I stopped it. But it took a long time, and like I said, the film was very different. In the beginning, it was more focused on that organization that replaced people. Then it was more focused on the guy that gets hidden in that house, and then in the end it got focused on that housewife and on that
Right.
family. And I think the message, the most important message is about the cycle of things, and how we perpetuate these things, and violence and values, and how we are getting immune to the absurds, how things are getting normal for people and for us, and how this it's something that it's quite disturbing to me.
Yeah, yeah. All the actors, they had an amazing chemistry on the screen. How did you get such an amazing cast together? And also, talk to me about the actor that played the little boy, the son in the family, because he was truly amazing.
Yeah, I'm in love with him too.
Yeah. he just
Y-
blew me away. So, just how did you get the cast together? It was such an amazing cast.
they are very talented actors. I was very lucky to have them with me. And well, Maeve Jinkings, the
Mhm.
main actor, César Bordon, the main actor, they have been with me in the project from a long time, since from the very beginning.
Oh,
And we were always speaking about the film, even though it took a long time to raise the funds to do it. We were creating and speaking and everything. And then more closer to the shootings, I did some tests and gathered the other great actors of the cast that I didn't know previously. I knew their work and I thought that they were very talented, but I hadn't worked with them before. And these are like these five actors were professional actors and experienced, and there were people from the city that I wanted to be in the film that weren't actors and didn't intend to be actors, like Jean, for instance. We were scouting people. Actually, one day my location manager was scouting location, and then he saw this boy who was playing soccer and teasing his little brother. And then Bruno, this person who's very important to me too, and he is a very good partner of, he knows what I enjoy, and he finds location and some cash for me sometimes. So he filmed this boy teasing his brother, and we were like, "Oh my god, this boy is amazing.
yeah.
Let's see if he wants to to do this film somehow." And then we started doing this together. I think it was Jean is great. I think he has the star, and he's so irreverent. For him, he's so unaware of trying to be famous or something like that, that this brings such naturality to him, that he was so all the time like so combative to the other actors, good way, that this mix of non-actors with actors felt so interesting for everyone, and everyone was saying that all the time.
Yeah, I think you found yourself a star there. You know, 'cause
Yeah, good.
honestly, I thought he acted before. It's like I'm watching, and I've been around actors for a very long time. So I looked at him like, wow, who is this kid? You know, because he's amazing. And you know what? That's great because that means hopefully he'll stand out, and somebody will notice him, and because that's the way it is. That's how life happens. So the film's a blessing. How difficult was it to film in Brazil, and what was your most difficult scene to shoot?
Um, it was difficult to raise the funds because nowadays we have a government that is completely against culture and everything, as you know.
Yeah.
So it took a long time for us to raise fund. We started raising it before this government, and then we got some other partners who helped us, and we have a co-production outside of Brazil with Argentina as well. And I think the most difficult scene, how can I tell you the most? There were a lot of difficult scenes. I think that the scenes that were like with more and energy were quite difficult. And also in Argentina was difficult to the scene in Argentina where he's having like that makeup
Right. The
was
makeup.
quite difficult to do. And because we didn't have many time to prepare and everything. And I think this scene for me was the hardest scene. The scenes in Brazil were very hard too, but the cast has been, we were together, and there was a chemistry that, and the talent that they have, that made things not that hard, not as hard as I imagined.
Right.
uh, that they have like this chemistry that made things work somehow, um, in a way that I didn't thought it would happen. And in Argentina, that scene, that was a hard scene, and it's a scene that I like very much too. And the actors are very talented too, but we had less time to get to know each other and to work together. So for me, that scene were the hardest.
So you filmed in part of Brazil and then Argentina. You did both locations.
Yeah, in Brazil we shot 4 weeks for 4 weeks, and then we shot some days in Argentina as well.
Yeah, it looked the location where the home was. Uh, how did you go through all that, like with a camera and stuff? It must be really difficult, especially the scenes where you have the bonfire. You know, where you have the charcoal going off. You know, it looked like to me, if I'm mistaken, is that like an oven? Is that what that is?
It is. It is a charcoal factory indeed.
Yeah.
It's like a family that lives. There's a family that lives in there. It's a house, and a family owns this little charcoal factory, and we rented the house. And a lot of things that the family does, like when she's sitting
Hmm.
in the how to say the thing to cook. I forgot the name in English now.
The oven, the oven area, the kitchen,
Yeah, in the kitchen when she's sitting where she cooks. I don't know if it's called the oven or the stove.
the
When
stove.
she's sitting there, the the owner of the house, when I went scouting there, he keeps sitting there all the time while his wife is cooking. So there's a family who lives there and works in the charcoal factory. So it was something very interesting to me, also this environment of the factory, the smoke, the fire, and the chimneys. But it, as you said, very challenging to shoot with the smoke and the fire,
Yeah.
and to do that, with the camera and the crew and the light, and
Yeah, but you did a marvelous job because you captured all that. Like it was just totally amazing to me. The way I see a film is, I don't read anything that the publicist writes to me. You know, about the film. I like to watch the film completely without knowing anything about it because
that's amazing.
yeah, that's the way I am. It's always been like that. I was well taught by a great filmmaker, Ted Kocha, and he does that. And I just, I learned from him, and it's just when I first see the film, I see it all and I experience it for the first time. This way, I could criticize and experience it and opinionate, you know. And it's just a wonderful. Just one question that I have is, I don't like to give away the film, but the one part where the wife is um, debating about the father, and his struggles, because I went through that. I had my mother and father were really sick, and they were suffering every single day. Now it was, obviously I just stood there as a son, took care of them, and I've spoke to the priest many times, and I asked the same question she did, believe it or not, because I was just, it's like, how can God, we always question that. My mother used to say, never question God, never, you know and the priest said the same thing to me. Everybody has their day. How hard was it to write that scene? How hard was it for you to do to that one particular scene? Because that's a tough scene. That was really tough.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, as you said it, I think I relate that too with some people that are very close to me, my grandparents that are getting old, very old, and that I feel desperate to think that at some point they will pass away. And I think
Yeah. Yeah.
it's hard in this point for me, but at the same time I wouldn't want to them to be suffering. So it's like it's
Right.
contradictory, right? So it's, you don't know. um,
Yeah. Yeah. You know how my mother passed away? I whispered in her ear and I said to her, Mom, it's okay. You could go. I said, your son is waiting for you in heaven, and so is your husband, my father. It's okay for you to go. You know what happened? She died right on the spot. It's almost like she wanted to hear that, like, and it was tough. That's why when I saw that scene, it kind of brought me back a little bit because I felt the same way, kind of. You don't know what to do. You really don't. You don't want to see anybody suffer. So, but it's overall, it was a great film. I love every piece of it. I'm a big supporter of women in films, women in the directing chair, you know, and your hard work shows it, and it's well deserved. And just so you know, I'm creating a YouTube channel called Today W Radio. Okay. So it's all directed on women in film, producers, writers, and all that. Because I learned that from Ted Kotcheff. Just so you know, you should look him up, Ted Kotcheff, because he was a big supporter always of women in the directing chair, and he helped many people. So there you have it. You got to see this film, Charcoal, and it starts in the Toronto International Film Festival on September 9th, 2022. So, Carolina, God bless you, man. And, well deserved. And I wish you, it's not luck. It's not luck because your history and all the films that you've done shows it. So, God bless you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you. I love the way you spoke about all the points and the way you watch films without reading anything. It was amazing. And it was great meeting you and speaking to you. Hope to meet you soon.
Yes, take care and deserved.
Thanks so much. Bye
Okay,
bye.
bye bye.